The thing is, now I'm going to get slated in the comments of people saying I put up a 5-2 favourite.
Didn't American Mike get beaten in a schooling bumper the other day by
Flooring Porter, wasn't it?
I don't even care. I'm napping Chaperon Poursoir.
Before midnight, Grand Annual.
Oh, yes. Daryl?
Ooh, it's either Lahom Press in the Brown Advisory or Red Rookie in the Grand Annual. One of them two.
Jamie?
No, I'm Preston.
Oh, you literally, you're going before Daryl next time because you just keep copying him. Right, day 2, Ballymore. Again, we don't really know who's definitely going to turn up in here, but my money would be on the fact that Sir Gerhard will turn up. I don't think it's that deep a race, which is why when I start looking down and down and down and down and down the field, I actually it depends if he runs or not, but I half give Ramillies a chance because Willie Mullins said that he doesn't want to stick him in the Albert Bartlett because he doesn't think he's experienced enough yet. So he could go in the Ballymore if he comes to Cheltenham. He's like stupidly big price, but I mean, he shouldn't be able to be good enough to win it. So there's no point me talking anymore on the Ballymore. George, do you have a very strong opinion in this race?
Very strong opinion that it's an awful race like you, Dave, but that's probably about as far as it goes. So Ginto's been confirmed for it today. You think it's either Dysart Dynamo or Sir Gerhard that's going to go. Constitution Hill's not going to. Journey with Me looks just too slow for it, to be honest, unless it's really teams it down over the weekend and Dysart Dynamo sort of goes hell for leather and sets it up for a stayer. Stage Star's in there. I mean, he's sort of solid, but not very spectacular. I'd probably chance whichever one of Willie Mullins turns up, to be brutally honest, and just I think there'll be a class apart. Whatever else is likely to turn up. Yeah.
Daryl, what would you make of it, mate? Before we started recording, you even mentioned Stage Star, didn't you? So it must be that bad a race, is it?
It is that bad. It is that bad of a race, in all honesty. I couldn't have Sir Gerhard if he comes here. I don't like Journey with
What?
Me. What?
He's the biggest certainty of all time if you run into this.
Well, biggest certainty is never ran over further than 2 miles for 2.5 mile race.
Oh, will you go away? Who beats him if he runs here? Stage Star and the fucking shallow hurl. I'll go in out there. Come on over. Come on. Seriously. I think I might as well go home and go to sleep.
No, I don't like Sir Gerhard, and I certainly don't like 11 or 10 either. I thought Ginto should be in a Bartlett. I didn't think this was a race for him. I thought Journey with Me was very slow. He was his Punchestown win, not the last one, because that was a terribly slowly run race when they were trying to get a lead. The time when he beat Milena Kruna, he was 22 lengths slower than Royal Kahala on the same card over the same trip. 22 lengths slower. I don't think he's good enough, in all honesty. I ended up coming at Stage Star. And I'll tell you the reason I came at Stage Star, right? Because you go down through the list quickly. Milena Kakuna, I'm hoping he's going to go for the Bartlett. State Man, I was hoping will come here, but won't. Free Stripe Life won't come here. Classic Getaway's far too backward at the moment. I Am Maximus can't win this. Good Risk at All's not going this race. El Fabiolo's the one I backed at big prices because I was hoping. I've seen mixed comments from Willie Mullins, and I was hoping that he would come here because I think he just could be he's a bit of an unknown quantity, and I quite like that with a race that I just can't get a handle on. Skytastic, you couldn't have. What do you want? He apparently did a good piece of work at Navan the other day, but still you're clutching at straws with him. Colonel Mustard, Eric Bloodaxe, Gift Maker was beaten at Sandown today. Hollowgate, I'm out to 33-1 here. Like, that's why. And everyone keeps saying about Stage Star. Everyone keeps saying, yeah, he's rock solid. Yeah, I've got no problem. And then passing over him. Everyone, every single preview night. And I just think he is the rock solid one, a good each way bet that is probably going to finish in the frame. And he definitely has a chance of beating any of the Irish. He's a very, very strong stayer. He's done good time figures at Newbury the last twice. He's improved every single run. He's a big sort. I don't think we've seen what's under the bonnet from him at all yet. So I don't think there's a lot not to like about him, whereas you can pick holes in a lot of the others. So yeah, each way, 6-1 each way, Stage Star do me.
Yeah, can't blame you. And as much as I have slated him there, saying it being the owner's Greek horse, things like that, there is bits of his form that can stack up in there. Even that Jinjo drawbell that was behind Dysart Dynamo, if we fancy him for that, that was eased in the running. And Stage Star beat him pretty comfortably, didn't he, in that shallow. Jamie, what do you like for the race?
Oh, Sir Gerhard runs here is an absolute fucking good thing altogether. He'll win so far, it'll be fucking uncanny. He'll win by half the track if he runs here. I just tell you that. I agree with that other Willie Mullins horse. Manila, we were there that day, George, but Manila Cocoon or Wanderers. Geez, he jumped well. He jumped well. Do you know what I mean?
I reckon he's a lot better than people are giving him credit for.
100%. And like, if he went here, I'd be very interested because he jumps like a very good horse. Like, do you know what I mean? And he gains lengths at these hurdles. I'd be very disappointed he went for the Bartlett because I don't give him a chance in the Bartlett for some reason or another, right? The other Willie Mullins horse, yeah, I heard that. We all heard that. What You Want. I know he's owned by the Ballymore crowd. He beat Ginto on a bumper, and that's what the form that I'm hanging on to. I don't fancy Ginto because he jumps to the right. No chance. Forget about him. And he should be in the Bartlett. So I suppose the other Willie Mullins horses, I think he'll go to Willie Mullins regardless. And if Gerhard doesn't turn up, I don't think Dice or Dynamo will stay. And that's just my opinion. He's too much of a lunatic to stay. So if it was 2 against the field, if Gerhard doesn't run, it's Cocooner if he runs. And I'd have a little bet on What You Want, yeah.
Fair enough. So we're all done for the Ballymore?
Yep.
Boom. Right, we'll move on to the Festival Novices Chase, which has changed complexion a little bit, hasn't it? Even from the times that we've spoken, not only for the fact that Galloping de Champs probably won't come in, but they're running La Hompresse up here as well now. Everyone's just running scared of whatever the most difficult race is, I think. This one, to be fair, I will definitely be taking on Brave Man's Game. I don't know how I'm going to be playing to take him on. I think Ahoy Senior, I fancied that he would be able to be a better horse than Brave Man's Game round a track like Cheltenham. I think it will suit him far more than it would suit Brave Man's Game, the test, all those sort of things. But he does worry me a bit of his jumping. Like, you don't really want a horse going into these races that's made some like sloppy mistakes. So that's the slight concern with him. Capodano is fairly short considering, well, he could have gone anywhere for the Cheltenham Festival, but he did win that Punchestown Handicap hurdle over 3 miles. Like, he looks like he wants a trip. I did say that when Willie Mullins made those comments that any jock could want to ride him, he could be like a national hunt chasey type of horse. So I just don't know what I'll be taking on with, but I can't have Brave Man's Game being the type of out and out dour stare that you need to win an RSA. And I know people will say, oh, look how close Allaho got and he's got the speed to drop back down. But Willie Mullins, even with a horse like that, talking about him saying how nicely he'd travel for a Gold Cup for next season. And obviously he was pretty decent in an Albert Bartlett before. I just don't think Brave Man's Game is really, really today. So I just can't have him. I think he's way, way too short. But it's because of the fact that Galloping de Champs not here. Daryl, who do you like?
I like Brave Man's Game in the sense of I think he's a fantastic horse. He's rated £11 higher than the average RSA winner for the last 10 years. So he's definitely there on ratings. I just worry... I think it's a worry of Paul Nicholls as well, that he just might be better on a flatter track. I think he'll win King George after King George after King George, but I just wonder about him really getting up this hill. I was quite impressed with him at Newbury. I thought he jumped like a stag. I did look his performance there. Ahoy Senior, this is a very good horse, this Ahoy Senior, but the issue with him is he jumps out to the right and he's definitely got a mistake in him. And on this old course, you are constantly turning. Left, and there are, I think, 6 fences close to or just after a bend where he is going to go out to the right, and he is going to lose ground, and he's going to have to use energy to get back to the front. I can see it now. He'll jump out to the right, use that energy to get back to the front, and I think he might end up making a mistake at the downhill fence at the wrong time. And I'm hoping that La Hompresse can pick them both up and power away. I think this is a very, very, very good horse. I mean, there's 3 very, very good horses here. It's a shame that they've all got to take each other on and they can't take on the Irish, but I think the Hompresse is open to vast improvement going up to 3 miles. I think the way he left Pic D'Orhy behind at Sandown last time was just effortless. He's the only one at the top of the market who's already had a soiter at the Cheltenham fences this year when run over the Turner Trip back in January when beating the Glancing Queen by 10 lengths. The Glancing Queen's she's just a rock solid form basis to base your form lines around. She's a decent horse. There's a nice horse back there in third, Fantastic Ass. I just think he's very, very good. And I can't wait to see what's under the bonnet because we haven't seen him have the gun put to his head yet and really go. And we know he gets up the hill. We know he handles the track. Lovely improving horse, the Hompresse.
Yeah, fair enough. Jamie, what do you make of it?
Well, obviously, it started here. We're all balls deep in Galloping. Look, he could switch it. Willie Mullins, bingo. Be a great race, but I don't think so now at this stage, especially if La Hompresse is going here. I suppose the way to break it down, Brave Man's Game, you know me, no chance. Won't get up the hill. No chance whatsoever. I think the most talented horse in the race is a High Senior. But I agree with Darren, turning to the right. He's going to, like that one up the top of the hill past the winning post. If you better be behind him, because if you're not, he's going to take you out. That's just my opinion. He'll stop and he'll stutter over it. Do you know what I mean? He probably is the most talented. If he jumps straight, he'd win this. Yeah. No doubt in the world. No doubt in the world. So it's slowly becoming a two-hand reel. And to be honest, in my head, and is Lon Press, who's the best British novice in Britain, to be honest, and he's proved that. And I agree with you, Dave. Capodana has to have a chance here. Like the form behind Bob Allinger. 1 to 3 mile handicap and punches down. And it looks like Aaron's only hoping to race. Do you know what I mean? So to me, I think Lon Press will win, but I would not discount Capodano, no. But if the selection, I think this Lon Press is a really good horse.
George, what do you make of it? After Fort Lon Press, your fancy too?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm still a little bit shocked that they're going to drop Galopin Champ to furlong and a half. Best part of 2 furlongs in trip and take on the better horse than all of this lot. But we'll keep our fingers crossed until depth. But yeah, nothing.
We were both looking at each other. Remember, George, after the line, like he was not stopping. Like he was going to jump down the back to the side of the track, and he was still on the bridle. Do you know what I mean? It's a shock to me. It's ridiculous. Willie Mullins is a bit of a hypocrite in my view, preaching that if he ran into RSA, he'd beat all of them. I don't care. So he's preaching about, I'm putting the best horse that I think would win the easiest race, basically, and he's not doing it. So look, he might think he's better than Bob Allinger.
To be fair to Willie Mullins, though, if his time guy has told him anything on that day, he would have told him that he was only a shade slower than Shackleton Soir on the final circuit. So he is not short of speed at all.
That's the other side of it. But look, good people one for you, Brits. Yay!
Did you get to finish, George?
Sorry?
Did you get to finish?
Yeah, I agree with Brave Man's Game doesn't have. I know he's sort of a nice jumper and everything, but just doesn't have the engine under the bonnet for me when it matters. Nope. And Long Press over Hoi Senor. If you could have trusted Hoi Senor's jumping, you'd probably go for him, but you just can't, can you? Yeah,
I think that's a fair assessment of the race. Right, Coral Cup, you'll be pleased to know I don't have an opinion in it unless I like the way your thinking gets left in, because whichever race that goes, whether it's this or the Martin Pipe, I'm going to have a bet on it. It's too big a price to ignore, given the mark that it's got. George, we'll come straight back to you. Coral Cup.
One.
Out, didn't you?
Well, one we mentioned earlier, Marie's Rock, if she ends up coming here off 140, you'd have to be interested in her for all sort of the reasons mentioned earlier. Campron stepping up in trip for JP and Philip Hobbs. That Greatwood form, I think he was sort of too close to an overly strong pace and on worse of the ground on the inside there that day. So you'd probably mark him up a bit, and a bit of improvement for stepping up in trip. He'd have to be on your shortlist. And the final one, I think, the way it's sort of shaping up at the moment is Grand Voix for Gordon Elliott. So especially these big field handicap hurdles, I'm quite interested to see sort of what is well backed or well found in the market and probably doesn't quite run up to expectation. You can have loads of excuses in them, a bit of bad luck here and there throughout the run. And the fact that he's gone off 6-1 in the race last year, coming back off the same mark, and he's sort of 14th at the minute. If he was 6-1 last year, he's had a sort of similar prep and he's going to have the same race. I'm not sure why he should be more than double the price. So he's one that I have a bit of an interest in, but they have got Sam Pelician as well, who could be a graded horse quite comfortably.
Yeah. With Campron, just to ask, do you think the ground could be a concern? Because it's not going to be good ground, and it would have been raced on. Would that be enough to put you off him or not at all?
Didn't have it on my radar that it'd be a problem at all, to be honest. Mate.
Ooh, I've just added it to your radar. Daryl, what do you like in the race?
God, how long you got? I like quite a lot. I tipped Drop the Anchor when he was 20 to 1 on a podcast. Kevin Blake has crashed his price in there. So I've already backed him. I wouldn't back him now at 7 to 1. That's far too short because there's so many in here that have got good chances. Unexpected Party could still be well handicapped off 142. Fast or Slow is a horse that gave good mention to a well back as well. He's a big eye catcher. He's definitely not a 2-miler. Stepping up and trip here for that Brazil team. He's probably going to be a bit of a gamble in the race. I like Compron. I've given him a good mention. There's so many that I like. The Devil's Coachman is the other one I'm quite keen on. I'm not entirely convinced that he needs this heavy ground that people keep saying he needs. I thought he was very, very eye-catching behind Fernie Hollow at Punchestown over fences on yielding to soft ground. I just think this horse has been crying out for a step up and trip. The way he won that Boyne Hurdle last time marked him down as potentially a graded horse in a handicap. Mark Walsh did everything he could to keep the handicap mark down there. He's been given 151. That's still £6 lower than his RPR that he recorded that day. He's very, very much on the upgrade, and any rain obviously will enhance his chances. But I don't think he needs it. I think this trip will suit him. He's a nice horse going forward, I think. But lots to like.
Nice, Jamie. Have you got anything you fancy?
I totally agree with Darren says. He won his bumper on good yielding.
Yeah,
Dale's coachman, so he definitely has a chance. I think Darren, you agree with me. He might have to be planted on the line, kind of a horse. Do you know what I mean? I think he's one of those. He's just have to go, and then he's won.
Yeah.
I suppose the wise man's horse now is Drop the Anchor. I backed it myself at 20-1. I like down £3 from last year's county herd. He's well handicapped off 1-4-3. My problem with him was, will he get too far behind, stay on late and like a train and finish third or fourth? I suppose the potential graded horse in the handicap is St. Felicien, well touted at the start of the season, and will come here. Potentially grade 1 off 149 is probably potentially well treated in Devil's Coachman. But I'm starting, and I don't know why I am, and I suppose it's because it's the Greatwood farm and the way he ran in the Greatwood up the inside. Cam Prodden has to have a chance, like, so it really does. And I suppose I'm down, it's all JP horses that I'm saying. But if you put a gun to my head, and a horse that's being kind to me, my selection would be Drop the Anchor each way.
Nice, fair enough. Well, like I said, I haven't really got much of an opinion in it, so we will just move on to a race that I do have an opinion in, the Queen Mother Champion Chase. I might as well just go at the end because I think I've already said it to each of you individually at some point, how this race is going to play out, and I just can't get away from it. I do understand the counter argument for everybody else. We can see how the market's priced up, but anyone got a bullish opinion enough that they want to go first in the Queen Mother Champion Chase? Don't all rush. Go on, George. Go on, George.
I think it's been really interesting this past week or so, listening to sort of not Willie Mullins directly, but everyone from his yard saying they think Shishkin's the sort of best thing going. And if they don't think they can beat Shishkin, the fact they've got an Ergamine and Chacun Pour Soi, who probably both want to be ridden very similarly, I think it might be quite interesting how it pans out, and they might end up trying to get Nico beat instead. And I know they're different owners, so it's not that straightforward, but you could have a scenario where one goes off maybe sort of a smidgen too hard, the other one sits alongside Shishkin or sort of just behind him, and it's like, God, Nico, when are you going to go? When are you going to go? When are you going to go? And just sort of play a few mind games with him. I mean, obviously, if they're in the same ownership, it's a bit easier to do that, but it'll be fascinating to see how it all pans out, really. And the one thing that surprised me from Ascot was going into that, I thought Shishkin was a faster horse than an Ergamine, but coming out of it, I'm sort of the other way around. And I know you've got probably the longer run in at Cheltenham and going left-handed, but it's sort of this surprised me a little bit there, but not strong enough for you to actually take any action on the back of it.
Do you think, just to not be rude about the other horses in the race, because obviously when they had that clash, everyone was saying, what about poor First Flow? Everything else in behind, Nube Neighbours, the likes of those, literally zero chance, do you think, in your mind?
Nube Neighbour might get it run to suit, but I'm just not sure he's up to the quality of the others if they run their race, to be honest.
Yeah. Fair enough. Daryl, you look like you've got something to say.
No, not really. Lay Shishkin, his current price, back him in running, traded at 7.1 in Ascot, I think, something like that. He's going to be a bigger price in running. This is the first time I think he's going to be running in a field of more than 5 runners. I think 7 of his last 8 runs have come in fields of 4 or less. So he's going to find traffic. That could be a bit of an issue for him, given they're going to go off pretty hard and he just hasn't got that early pace and that slick early jump into to go the early gallop, I don't think. So he is going to find himself a little bit further back in the field. He's going to give first run to an Ergamine. He's probably going to have to weave his way through a bit of traffic. So I still think he's by far the best horse in the race. And I think laying him now and then backing him after about 2 fences is probably the way to go.
Yeah, fair enough. Jamie, how do you see it, mate?
I think if he's ever going to beat Shishkin, Ergamine, is that he's going to have to go off like the Clappers. But the problem is the fly in the ointment is Chacun Pour Soi, and I'm hearing vibes that Paul Townend's going to ride fucking Chacun Pour Soi. So I don't know what he's thinking there, to be honest with you. It's a furlong and a half shorter. That's what I'm clinging on to. Big, huge bets that I've had on Nergamine at the start of the season. I think if he goes quick enough and Chacon Passoir blocks off Shishkin, I think this is I'm clinging on and clutching at straws probably because Shishkin is the best horse. But the fact of the matter is, hopefully, if he goes quick enough, he might burn him off, and hopefully there might be a few dodgy jumps from Shishkin, and that's all you're clinging on to be honest with you, Dave.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that probably Shishkin, well, not probably, but Shishkin is the right favourite and the most likely winner.
Would I be shocked if Energumen beats him? Oh God, no.
Well, exactly that. See, I think Energumen of the trio is the least likely one to win it. He's the one that I fancy the least. And you know, when we saw Richard Johnson when he got beat on Time Hill, when he swore after the line when Paisley Park picked him up, and I keep going on about the fact that I swear he wanted to be retired that day. Paul Townend, when Chacun Poursoir crosses the line after those couple of horses go past him, like literally head on the horse. I've never seen a more deflated jockey in my life. And I think he traded 1.15 in running, didn't he? I don't think anyone, when he jumped the last, thought that he was going to empty like he did. And I know people will say it might be the hill or whatever it was, but I genuinely just wonder what Paul Townend was thinking after that line, whether he was thinking, how the fuck did he not start the hill? Or whether he was instantly thinking, shit, I should have gone a bit sooner. Because I think Dickie Johnson had that little bit about him, didn't he, where he thought he had the race done up, thought he'd done everything right, but clearly he hadn't got it right. So I still think there's something in that. Chacun Poursoir is, although like the other two guys are the new kids coming up, aren't they? And they're like more progressive, and arguably on that Ascot run, they look like they're better than Chacun Poursoir now. But we're only really judging those two against each other, and the fact that you got First Flow as a yardstick back in behind. Chacun Poursoir's run at Leopardstown, like there's no real depth in the race, was there? So, like, I don't think his performance was maybe as good as his racing praise rating suggests on there. But I do think he is a very good horse. I wonder tactically what they'll do, because I think they should have kicked for home a bit sooner on him. I hope that Paul Townend does ride him. And I think with something like a Shishkin, the same as what I said with when Surname ran against Altior, to beat those types of horses, you've got to be in front of them at some point. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you're better to be in front of them to begin with and then just hope that they don't go past you. And they tried that with Energumen at Ascot. Energumen doesn't really want to go out like the clappers in front for himself. I think he wants a fast pace to aim at. So I think the ideal situation for both Chacon and Energumen is Chacon just goes, and Energumen sits him, not even close behind, will sit a few lengths behind, hopefully try and block Shishkin in when he's realised that he's not going to beat him and he's going to slow up. And then Chacun Poursoir might be able to nick it. Like, obviously, he might not get up the hill. That may be a genuine thing in there. But I just think there's been lots of horses in the past that have run in a champion chase that have then come back in previous years to go on to win it. Like, they improve for running in a proper championship race, albeit it was a pretty shit one. Shishkin and Energumen, although they've run against each other, are yet to run in a proper race. The last time Shishkin had a proper race at Cheltenham, he only beat Abracadabra's ahead. And if that horse wasn't a dodge, then he probably would have gone past him. Now, I know, obviously, he's progressed and stuff, but I just think Chacun Poursoir is just not necessarily forgotten horse, because lots of people are talking about him. But I genuinely rate Chacun Poursoir as the most likely danger. I think if Energumen couldn't beat him at Ascot, he cannot beat Shishkin at Cheltenham. I'm team Chacun Poursoir. I know everyone's having a go at me saying doesn't get out of here, it's stupid. Shishkin definitely wins.
Thanks for reminding me that Shishkin beat Abracadabras, by the way.
Sorry about that. So George, of the trio, is Shishkin the most likely winner? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the most likely danger of Energumen Chacun, do you think? I know tactics play.
I think whichever one goes out in front.
Good, to Chacun Poursoir, hopefully. Daryl, Shishkin wins. Biggest danger?
An ambo similar.
Oh. On the upper curve, Jamie, you're going to say Shishkin, but then Energumen's biggest danger.
Yep.
All right, fair enough. So haven't really told anyone anything out there, but I just think so many people, not that many people are forgetting Chacun Poursoir, right? Because he's still at like a fairly low price considering he may not get up the hill. Right, let's move on from that. I mean, come on, Chacun Poursoir. I want Willie Mullins to win the champion chase at some point as well. That's not the reason why I've done it. Right, George, you are absolutely balls deep in Tiger Roll. You mentioned Prengard there the other day. He was a fluky little one for me. The news broke, managed to back him on the exchanges, and then lay him 5 points short a little bit later for a free roll. So boom, the cover bet. I'm gonna start following you in. I'm going to start getting stuck in a Tiger Roll. And yes, I'm aware that part of it is sentimental, but I started to look at this race yesterday in preparation for this, and my word, is it utter shite in behind. So there's no like easy slam like the year that he was yet. There's no horse that's come here and done it at the track to blow the socks off. Old horses can do it all right here, can't they? Gordon Edit saying all the right words. Michael Levy likes him. I'm happy to have a little bit on Tiger Roll at 2-1. Daryl, are you excited about the cross country?
Oh yeah, in fact, Overexcited. No, I thought Easy Land's 10-1 you can get on him. I think that's far too big for a horse that's destroyed Tiger Roll previously. I've got no interest in the race whatsoever. I am going up there for this day because the missus wants to see Tiger Roll. So, yeah. Easy Lands each way, maybe.
Fair enough. Jamie, any exciting opinion in this?
Yeah, it'll all depend on the ground. If it's good to soft, Tiger Roll will win by half the track. If it goes heavy, it's between Prangard and Easy Land.
All right, well, it won't be heavy. So Tiger Roll wins by half the track. You heard it here first from Jamie. George, go and collect. If you're on the blue, get in the queue. Do you want to add anything else to the cross country, George?
No, nothing, to be honest. I mean, Tiger Roll's looked fairly average on his prep runs in previous seasons. Come here, and as long as he gets the ground, he's fine, isn't he? So I'm fully expecting a repeat, like you say, Jamie, if the ground's right. But a little bit of the elements in play there.
And that's another thing with it there. Again, like it's a novelty race, I'd never get so far stuck in. But with the whole 5-2 thing on Gaelic Warrior, and then you get 9-4 Tiger Roll. I know Tiger's been there and done it, but there's lots of like a big enough question marks around there to stop us steaming in. Hasn't stopped George steaming in on one. Hasn't stopped me steaming on someone else. So good job you're listening to this professional preview show, telling you to have your bollocks on horses that have got loads to prove. Speaking of loads to prove, the Grand Annual. The horse that I put up a little while ago, mentioned through a couple of other lines, Dance on My Own. Henry de Bromhead's confirmed in his stable tour that he definitely goes for the race. So Dance on My Own wins this as far as I'm concerned. Little question mark about whether he's really going to see out the trip, but there's so much pace in the race, it's hard to say with any confidence. I think there's 5 or 6, maybe 7 that probably really want to be up with the pace, and then it's just going to be a case of after the first couple of jumps how they've sort of panned out after that. But I'm still fairly sweet on Dance on My Own, so I fancy him. Jamie, you got anyone you like?
I like a horse at Dan Skelton's called Stepney Causa. I think if Edward Stone wins the Arca, and if you have to be up in the band line, and this race is at less than 2 miles, ran at the November meeting, was beaten by I Like to Move It. I know it was over hurdles, and I Like to Move It second to Betfair. Tritonic won the Ascot run. I think you need to be up in the band here in the first 5 in the Grand Annual. Very rarely do horses come from at least 10, 11, 12 back. So off 1, 3, 4, I thought we've got him well handicapped the last day, and Leicester, I thought, just did nothing with him. So off 1, 3, 4, a little bit of each way poke. No really like the Irish wise men's horses, Buddy Rich. So I'll take a chance on Stepney Causeway, 20-1, he said.
Daryl, one you like? Mute. Mute. Mute.
Want me to go for it?
I'm not muting now.
No, not anymore.
Time White's worth a mention. Yeah, obviously had bags in hand when he won last day at Doncaster. He's definitely going for this. So I'm gonna have a couple of quid on him. Obviously, Dancing on My Own, you've mentioned. The other one is Red Rookie for Emma Lavelle. How this horse won at Hereford last time, I'll never know. He was out the back of the telly, and then just automatically appeared in the picture and won going away. He's a smart horse. He is. He went off favourite over Brave Siaska at Ascot the time before. And if you go back and watch the Chepstow run on his chase debut and his seasonal reappearance, my God, see the way he chased down this witness protection. Christ, that is a race that I was keen to follow all season. It's given winner after winner out of that. And I think he's a very unexposed horse that's on the up. I think he's miles, but I think he's got at least £10 in his hand off his mark of 138. Look at that Chepstow run. Not available was in third. He's come out and won twice since. Amarillo Sky was off 129 there. He's now off 143. Can You Call's one. Brave Siaska was in 6th. Stormy Flight's one. Brewers Project one. Toki Dookie's one. It's a really, really strong piece of form. And I'm hoping he's going to be ridden quite prominently. And I think he'll take a world of beating in all honesty. I think he's probably the best handicapped horse in the race. I think there's loads of horses in here to like. But I don't think there's loads of horses in here that have got, a good bit in hand off their mark. Time White. I like to normally like to a horse that's got about £10 in hand for one of these chases, and I can't see too many others in here that's going to have £10 in hand. But I can definitely see that he's got £10 in hand. So Red Rookie for me, 16.
George,
just quick mention. If Global Citizen runs in here, that'd be interesting. I know he's 10. But he's going to front run. He hasn't been over fences for a good while, has he? They've been running him over hurdles, and I thought it was well weird while they was running him like an enlisted hurdle. at Sandown behind Goshen and that in the contenders hurdle. I thought, why are they not going for a bloody...
There.
What?
Seriously. What did I told you years ago, the first time we ever did a preview? Do you remember?
Oh, flat track horse. Yeah, but
no. I know where you're coming from, and I see where you're coming from. But
I'm just going to say, talking in terms of horses that have got at least £10 in hand in their mark,
I know what you mean.
Right? He may obviously prefer at that level when he was racing off marks of 150 and 156 to have his ideal conditions, which are obviously a flat track and everything like that, for him to win at that sort of level. But I know this is obviously a competitive level, but he's down to a mark of 136. You know, it's just a very lenient mark, and I just find it very interesting they've kept him over hurdles for so long and not going into handicaps. You know what I mean? Grade 2 hurdles, obviously Grade 3 was held up at beaten outside by Tritonic, but I just find it strange why they've kept this horse. I don't know if they were protecting the mark or what. I don't know, but he's interesting. If he runs, he's got obviously a hurdle entry as well. But if he runs in here, it'd be very, very interesting.
Yeah, he's one of our little generation horses, isn't he? I just can't wait for the day that he retires. George, we haven't even been speaking that long, have we? And I've mentioned Global Citizen to you a few times, and each time you've had to tell me just to stop talking, haven't you?
What do you made my money off him?
George, what do you fancy for the race?
Well, Buddy Rich to start with, it might be by design, but he looks like a complete dodgepot to me that just will not go past the horse. And he's such a weak finisher that I don't think I could have him. I mean, it could be one of these plots that they've just been doing to keep his mark down, but he's not for me until I've actually seen him put his head down and go through with it. It's interesting you say it looked like there was a lot of pace. I was thinking similar, but like you say, if Global Citizen doesn't come here, and he might do, Brave Shafka's going to the Arkle now. For Pleasure might go to the Arkle as well. Editor de Jeek might go to Champion Chase. It doesn't actually leave you with loads of front runners left, even though it looks like at the sort of current entries it might do. And the one that is sure to runs before midnight, and he's got a course win to his name. He's sort of run Fernamble Civil close at Doncaster that day, where I'm pretty sure he went a bit too hard. And then Fernamble Civil has obviously come out and done what he's done in the Game Spirit. And this is another case of the British Handicap being a bit of a joke. Left before midnight on exactly the same mark. And he's still 16-1 non-runner no bet with bet 365 and 20-1 anti-post. And trainers come out and said it's target. I mean, a week away, he's fitting well and going for it. And I honestly think he should be about half that price. And yeah, just can't see why the market's not latched onto him whatsoever.
Nice. I think there's some recency bias that comes into that because they talked about it after that win, didn't they, earlier in the season, that this was like the longer term target. And I think a few people talked about him then. As soon as it gets nearer the festival, people start to forget it, didn't they?
Who's he on about?
before midnight.
Oh God, yeah.
You won't dare look at that race again, Darryl. It'll give you nightmares.
Right, should we move on to the big bad boy bumper? That's a yes. Then we move on to the bumper. So I've had a little dapple on this in the last couple of days. Facile Vega went evens or just like 208 or 2.1. I laid him at. Anyway, I've laid Facile Vega with the bumper just because I think his price is going to drift out anyway. I think it's potentially competitive enough. The way they talk about this redemption day, American might, I think the form does stack up with that horse. I think it probably looks possibly even a bit stronger than Facile Vega, to be honest with you. Mercury, we don't think it's going to come. James Gate, they're talking about it. I don't really think there's a sleeper in the pack. I've gone through the form of quite a few of these in here, but I just don't think Facile Vega deserves to be an odds-on poke on this bumper because I think it looks okay-ish. That's as much as I'm happy to say about this race. Does anyone have any strong opinions and want to go first?
American Michael will.
Yes, that's what I want to hear. I'm scared to back.
I suppose looking at obviously the Facile Vega very impressive, like there isn't. I suppose it worrying me. I suppose are they putting people off Facile Vega because Patrick Mullins is saying that Redemption Day is a quicker horse. My problem with Redemption Day, will he get up the hill? Is he too speedy? Do you know what I mean for this stage of his career? Last week at the preview, Brian Cooper said that they run to the piece of work and James's Gate. He says he's an absolute jet. So they're all talking him up, but the one with the most solid form, and I think the winner of I've backed him a long, long way, and I think American Michael will win it.
George, have you looked at him much?
It's like you said about the last race day. I think you got the recency bias with Facile Vega and the other Mullins horses, and American Mike's not been out for a while. I'm not sure we should be sort of 2.5 times the price of Facile Vega for how interesting he was, or sort of how impressive he was last time. Think about that race the last 2 years. You've had Kilcruit and Appreciate It putting better performances on the clock, and they both got turned over. So yeah, I'll be with Jamie that American Mike would be the one for me.
You, Daryl, you got stuck into it yet?
Yeah, I have, but just too many people know too much information about these horses that I don't. So I can't have a strong bet. I was really impressed with Facile Vega at Leopardstown. I have been impressed with American Mike as well. Didn't American Mike get beaten in a schooling bumper the other day by
Flooring Porter, wasn't it?
By Flooring Porter, yeah.
That can't be a great sign, can it? If it's over 2 miles.
It's a great sign for Flooring Porter in the stairs early, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But is it for American Mike being beaten by a 3 miler over 2 miles? I don't know. It's how you look at it, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah.
But that's my point. That's the sort of information that comes to hand very late to me, really.
Yeah.
And by that time, the money's already in the market. So look, I'm probably just going to take a chance on a couple on the day. I do really think Facile Vega I can see Facile Vega winning the Supreme next year, if that makes sense. Just his stride, the way he goes about his business, the way he quickens up. I can just see him jumping hurdles well and probably being a better hurdler than American Mike. So I like that in a bump horse, but he'll be much bigger on the day. He'll probably get 3-1, 4-1 on the day, depending what happens between now and next week. But you remember Envoy Allen was as short as this for a long time, wasn't he? He touched 4-1 on the day. So I wouldn't be getting involved. I'd just probably wait.
The hammer. What was it? The hammer that Lucari went our favourite, no?
Yeah, Lucari. Yeah, backed in on the day, wasn't it? It'll probably be the same thing with American Michael or Redemption Day, even.
One of them is definitely going to get hammered, and one's going to have a massive drift on the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and given Facile Vegas as short as he is, he can only go one way in the market because he's not going to go off odds on. That's for damn sure. So he's only going to drift. So I'd just probably wait.
Beautiful. So I think we're all in the same conclusion then. Facile Vega's a very nice horse, but probably too short a price.
Yep.
I've just put words in everybody's mouths. Right, let's move on to Thursday. Oh, no, we need day 2 naps, don't we? Day 2 naps. I don't even care. I'm napping Chacon Poursoir.
Mr. Shishkin.
I'm napping Chacon Poursoir.
George Hartley. Fucking
No, not mine. Dave loves him, doesn't he? He's got the socks and the boxers and everything.
Yeah. T-shirt, hoodie, mug.
The one thing I will say with my Wednesday nap here, as much as it is in theory, the nap is your best bet of the day, innit? I will not be getting stuck into Chacon Poursoir. He will not be probably my biggest bet on the Wednesday.
You definitely need to buy a Chacon Poursoir mug after that. Mug after tipping it out.
Oh, so I can hang myself if it all goes wrong. I won't. Suicide's not funny. George, you nap for Wednesday?
Before midnight, Grand Annual.
Oh yes, Daryl.
Oh, it's either Lahom Press in the Brown Advisory or Red Rookie in the Grand Annual.
Have 2. Jamie?
I'm Preston.
Oh, you literally, you're going before Daryl next time because you just keep copying him, right?